It's fun being a birder. Now here's a neat find. Woodpecker has been at work. When it's your passion, you just love doing it. It's a very easy thing to get involved with.
Thank you so much for watching Anoka County Today and Birding with Bob. My name is Martha Weaver, and I am joined by Bob Holtz, who is one of our adult education specialists and also an ornithologist, and he leads people on educational tours and guides here at Wargo Nature Center, among many others. And we're so lucky to have Bob here talking about winter guests. And we are not talking about the type of guests who are coming over for Thanksgiving or for holiday meals. We are talking about our winter guests from the bird population. It is Birding with Bob. And I don't think people have talked much about winter guests as far as birds, but really we're talking about some birds that may be coming here, stopping for a little while, actually moving from down south. And this is considered their south to them. They're not going that much further.
Right. They breed up in Alaska, Canada, the Arctic, and when the weather is rather harsh up there, they will come down here for our mild Minnesota winters.
It's really hard to think of.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about some of the ones you're talking about.
Yeah, these are birds also who I should say that this is the only time you're going to see them. The earliest usually is mid-September, and by mid-April most of them are gone. Mm-hmm. So, probably the most common winter guest that people will note would be the dark-eyed juncos.
JUNCO?
JUNCO.
How's it spelled?
J-U-N-C-O.
Okay.
Dark-eyed junco. Small sparrow-sized bird. They're actually members of the sparrow family, but don't have a sparrow name. Dark-backed, pale bill, white in front, and they have a couple white outer tail feathers on each side. But if they're sitting down, you don't notice it too much, but when they fly, it's very diagnostic. They come down in the winter. Some people refer to them as snowbirds, but they will come to your backyard to feed too, but they're ground feeders, so you're going to see them under your feeder cleaning up, not so much ever on your feeder unless you have a big tray type feeder. They might be up there at times.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be one of those types. Another would be the American tree sparrow.
Okay.
They're really hardy individuals. They nest way up in the Arctic. They head south, and some stay from northern Minnesota, let's say, to the lower part of the mid-states, whereas the juncos I mentioned will be anywhere from northern Minnesota to Texas and Florida. They really spread out. The American tree sparrows are ground feeders also, but they have shown an ability
Tree sparrows or tree swallows?
Sparrows.
Sparrows.
Yeah, the tree swallows are gone at this time of the year.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because they're insect eaters.
Okay.
But this is the American tree sparrow. Kind of, to me, a little bit unusual name because he doesn't spend a lot of time in trees. He's mostly eating down low.
Okay.
You know. They spread out quite a bit also. Ground feeders. We divide all of our sparrows basically into two groups. One group, as we say, is plain-breasted.
Okay.
Another group has streaked breasts. And the tree sparrow fits in the plain breast category with the exception that has one dark dot on its breast. Huh. If it weren't for that, you could easily mistake them for a chipping sparrow, which most people find in the summertime. Okay. Reddish-brown cap, little light line over the eye. And I think I was going to mention they have learned to adapt to things we make available to them. They are ground feeders, but for the last 3 winters at my feeder in Roseville, a suburb, some of them have been hopping up on the thistle feeder. Really? And feeding, yeah. So, you know, birds do adapt to the changes that we make available to them.
And there's another one, the shrike?
Shrike is a very interesting bird. Combination of black, gray, white colors, very fine barring on the breast, a light line over the eye.
Where are they normally? Where are they coming from?
Way up in Canada,
okay.
Farther north even. They have a hooked beak. They're probably an inch shorter than a robin, a little bit chunkier than a robin, but that may be because they're shorter. They have that hooked beak so that they can help them capture, kill, and eat prey. And their prey is small birds and small rodents. Okay. They also have, particularly the males, the unique habit of taking food and impaling it on a thorn or a barbed fence.
Okay.
And so people nickname them butcher birds, which is a bit unfair because it's not killing for joy as had been implied. Studies from shrikes, there's a lot of different kinds around the world. Studies of those shrikes have shown that the males are doing this to say to the female, look at all the food I could provide. And the males that set out a better fare have a better chance of getting a female.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how they advertise.
Now, as I understand it, during the wintertime, we really have an opportunity to see some birds that we normally would not, especially in the owl family, too.
Now, let me say one more thing about the shrike, too. You rarely see a group of them. It's usually just one. But yes, owls, we have a few permanent resident owls like the great horned and the barred owl.
Right. I always used to think it was barn owl.
Now, well, there's a barn owl, but not in our area very much.
Okay.
They don't handle the winter weather as well.
Okay.
One of the owl visitors we get is a snowy owl, large white owl with pretty good sized yellow eyes.
Okay.
It's a diurnal owl, so that means you don't have to go out at night nocturnal to find them. They're an active in daytime owl.
Okay.
They have not pure white. They have a lot of spotting on them. And the darker ones are the females. It's a little bit different, so you can tell males from females that way after you've seen enough of them.
Okay.
Last few winters, they've been showing up at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport.
Why?
I would guess, you know, you've got the cleared runways and stuff, and if little rodents are out there running, they're easy to spot.
Yeah.
But they've been trapping them the last few years and moving them away, not killing them, just moving them to a different place because they don't want to have collisions with aircraft, you know, so that's a concern. But a very spectacular owl. And the reason they come down is their food supply is a little harder to get in the wintertime, and sometimes it's running low, and their main choice of food are lemmings. So they eat pretty good sized mammals. That's not a little field mouse sized rodent, you know. The other is the great gray owl. Really impressive bird. If you want to see an impressive owl, find a great gray owl.
Okay.
The thing is, ordinarily, there's very few that nest in Minnesota. But some winters, when the vole, V-O-L-E population, people tend to call it a field mouse, is low, they will come down. And they'll come to northern Minnesota. But in 2000, 2004, that winter, there was a massive invasion. They were found in some places over 100 a day by people.
Wow.
I took a group of friends and just went up into Pine County, not that far from here, and in an hour and a half we saw 29.
Wow.
You know, and ordinarily you can't find two. You know, what they're doing is they're easy to spot because they're sitting along the highways and roads up there in the trees looking for rodents to run out. Unfortunately, they tend to sit on this side of the road, so they see this rodent run out over there, they dash it down low across the road and tend to get hit by cars. And to give you an idea how massive that invasion was, 750 roughly were found dead alongst highways. Most of them hit. A few may have starved, but most of them hit by an automobile. Its automobile was a foreign object to them. They're not familiar with them, so they didn't worry about it, but a lot got hit. So 750 hit and killed means there were a lot more than that out there, because the majority certainly didn't get hit by cars. You know. But that's one we can't rely on seeing. We're going to have to hope for the right time, and if you hear, people hear that there's an invasion, pay attention, go take a look at it. They're very impressive, large, dark owls. You know. So,
all right. So our winter guests.
Our winter guests, and there are a few of them, not a lot, but there are really some neat birds there.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it very much. And for more Birding with Bob, you can just go to our website, anokacounty.us, or to our YouTube channel. That's Anoka County MN on YouTube. And we thank you very much for joining us. Bob Holtz, I'm Martha Weaver for Anoka County Today.